Hello guys! For today's video, I'm going to show you how to make a parked car into a moving car effect in Photoshop. And also, we will dive deeper into using some selection tool like quick selection and object selection tool. And also, we're going to apply a motion blur on the background and also a path blur for the wheels. So let's get started. So here in our document, we have this car that is parked on the road. And our goal here is to apply some blur effect to show that the car looks like it's moving. So the very first step we're going to do, we're going to create a duplicate layer of our background layer. So click on this background layer, right click on it, and select duplicate layer. Let's name this duplicate layer as the blur background. And then select OK. And the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to create a selection on the car. And we're going to make use an object selection tool. So let's go to the toolbar and then let's go to the fourth tool and right click on this, and then you're gonna see here object selection tool. Just press on it. Okay, and then let's create a box on this car, and Photoshop will automatically create a selection on the car. And there you go. Alright, but for some unnecessary selection, alright, we're gonna use the quick selection tool here to remove some selections. So we're gonna right click on that fourth tool again and then click on quick selection tool. Alright, and then after that, we're going to remove this part here. Okay, because this one looks transparent, and later on we're going to apply some motion blur on it. Well, if this is a part of our selection now, that won't look realistic. So I won't select this part. All right, so I'm going to just hold Alt for to subtract some selection, and then click on it with the use of the selection tool. All right, there you go. And if there are some parts that I need to deselect, right, and for additional, just press Shift and let's add some. I guess that's better. All right. So the next thing we're gonna do here is we're going to create this car's own layer. While we already created a selection on this car, we just have to press Control plus J. And look at that. We just created the car layer. And then let's give this one a name. Just double left click on this. And then let's give it a car layer. Okay. Alright. And by the way, if you find this video helpful so far, please consider subscribing to help YouTube algorithm show my video to other nerds like us. Going back, the next step we're going to do here is we're going to add a blur effect on our background. So we're going to select on the blur background that we just created a while ago. Just click on it. And then let's add some motion blur on it. To do that, while this layer is selected, let's go to Filter and then select Blur and choose Motion Blur. It's here. Just click on it. All right. So now you can see it already make our background blurry, but in this dialog box here, we're going to adjust the options. For the angle, I'm going to set it this one to -7 so that the direction is going on the right. Okay. And for the distance, so maybe I go to 100. All right. And after we already set our distance and angle, let's select OK. All right. Now we already created this blur background, and it shows that the car already looks moving, but it doesn't seem realistic. For what reason? Because if a car is moving, you can also see that the wheels are moving, but this picture doesn't show that the wheels is moving, right? Okay, so we're going to create another blur effect onto the wheels only. Okay, so to do that, let's go again on the car layer. Just select on this, and we're going to create a new selection layer on the wheels. Let's make use of quick selection tool, and then let's Let's create a selection. All right. And then let's add another selection onto the other wheels. So just hold shift and then click and drag on the other wheel. All right, that looks better. Now we're going to create its own layer. While having this selection, just press Ctrl plus J. And there you go. There's another layer over here. Now let's name this one as wheels layer. Okay, and select enter. After that, we're going to apply a path layer onto the wheels. So while this wheels layer selected, let's go to filter, click on blur gallery and choose path blur. Now as you see that there's an anchor point here with an arrow that shows where direction is the blur going. Okay, so I'm going to drag this one here, okay, on the wheels. And my goal here now is to create a spiral direction on these wheels. So let's create another anchor point here to create that spiral. Okay, so we're good with this, but here also we're going to add the same thing with that. You just have to click to create another anchor point. All right, it's better. Okay, so once we're done, we can already now press enter. And yes, it will load up. All right, now it's done. Now look at that. It already created spiral blur effect on the wheels, but this one doesn't seem smooth, so we're going to make that smooth. So to do that, we're going to, holding on that wheels layer, we're going to create a negative mask. So to create a negative mask, just hold Alt and then press here, this one, to create a negative mask. So when I click that, it creates this negative mask, and you can see that the effect is gone, right? Because we're going to use a brush tool here to bring that effect. Okay, so clicking on that negative mask, let's go to brush tool here. Just select B for the shortcut. And for the option, let's adjust the opacity into 60%. For the brush, I prefer on using soft brush. Okay, enter. All right, so after doing that, now we can already paint on the wheels. So only on the rims of the wheels. All right, also into the other wheel. And there you go. Now I'm finished with this. Okay, so I'm going to show you the before and after. So I'm just going to hide these layers here. Okay, so this one is the before, and this one is the after. Now look at that. That looks more realistic. And that is how to make a parked car into a moving car effect in Photoshop. See you in the next videos.